Glad you joined us. We're on our way to Mexico, where I can practice my cooking skills, and Dale will follow me and help with cooking and maintenance. It all started with a friendly email from Jen Schmidt from Elm Creek, Manitoba, who has been serving with Mennonite Brethren Missions in Guadalajara, Mexico for the past 10 years. Ever since Dale retired 3.5 years ago, we've been doing volunteer work with MDS 1 week per year. Serving at Centro Mateo in Guadalajara was a 3-week commitment. What made MTC different from MDS, in addition to a longer commitment, is the work schedule and a warmer climate. Tie up the dogs at 7:30 a.m. Make coffee, read several chapters from Genesis, and pray. At 9 a.m., make breakfast and get to work. Prepare a snack of fruit and carb for 12 noon. Create and then enjoy lunch at 2:30 or 3 p.m. Clean up, and then about 4:30 or 5, we would take a 20-minute walk past some neighbors to an elementary school down the highway for some internet time. That was our schedule most days. In the evening, we spent time playing games, visiting or reading, and then somewhere between 8 and 9 p.m., we would enjoy some supper. By 11 p.m., and sometimes earlier, we would call it a day. We have 6 churches in Guadalajara, and all of them are planning on planting daughter churches or have been planted by a mother church. Pastor David Molina of Casa de Paz, or House of Peace, said, "I'd rather spend money on a missionary than on an instrument." That's a church planter's heart. Spend all available money on reaching out with the intent of touching lives for Jesus Christ. People are more important than things. Casa de Paz began 6 years ago. They hold a service Saturday night and Sunday morning. Attendance is about 300 and continues to grow. The Saturday that we met Pastor Molina, the church was hosting a children's outreach event. And while we were there, they began passing out Samaritan's Purse Christmas shoe boxes. That was really neat to see, an unexpected blessing. The children were delighted to open the boxes to see what they received. A unique experience was worshiping with the church in Campo Rio under an open tent in the middle of a boulevard within the gated community. This past November, Pastor Alfreda Beltran baptized 9 individuals using the swimming pool at Centro Mateo for this celebration. A very friendly congregation. Each of our churches is growing and baptizing new Christians. Guadalajara is the second biggest city in Mexico with a metro population of just under 5 million. Matthew Training Center is located about 20 minutes outside of Guadalajara. Centro Mateo began to take root in the minds of Trevor and Joan Goddard about 5 years ago. They are former missionaries and were teachers at Bethany Bible College. The setting for this school is beautiful. The water fountains, walkways, flower gardens, cypress bushes, a lavender bed, all create an enjoyable setting for students and volunteers. The dorm, painted Mexican yellow, was built within this past year and is totally paid for. The primary purpose of Centro Mateo is to train and disciple present and future leaders in our Mexican and South American churches. Dale and I were pleased to become acquainted with the 10 students at Centro Mateo. There was one from Canada, a couple and their child Maddox from the U.S., one from Paraguay, 3 from Peru, including 2-year-old Matias, 1 from Colombia, and 3 from Mexico. Students were all under 35 years of age. Some were professionals. One is studying to be a medical doctor. Some are pastors, missionaries, and all are there to become stronger followers of Christ. Dale and I saw firsthand the enthusiasm and vibrancy in the students' faith. Whenever we are growing the Mennonite Brethren Church, we will need to provide spiritual training and leadership. The Centro Mateo Training School is a natural outgrowth of a growing body of believers in Mexico and South America. Here are a few fast facts about Mexico. Protestants make up 6% of Mexico's population. The average monthly income is about $725 US. The median age is about 24 years of age. Mexico is making some very good strides politically, economically, and socially in becoming a stronger nation. We found their public places clean and welcoming. We were pleased that they permitted us to see museums and parks free. Was it our Canadian charm or our age? Although most of our time was spent at Centro Mateo, we were able to slip away and do some interesting tourist things on the weekends. We caught a luxury bus to Celaya, 4 hours east of Guadalajara, to visit Victor's mom, dad, and siblings. What a wonderful treat it was for us to get to know Victor, Josefina, Ale, and Eagle. They were very gracious hosts and tour guides. About 15 years ago, their son and brother, Victor, lived in our home in Flin Flon as an international student. Unfortunately, we did not see him on this trip. Maybe next time. Our first day in Celaya, Ale drove us to Guanajuato, and there we began our sightseeing with a visit to a museum, Alhóndiga de Granditos. A couple of centuries ago, this building was a grain storage place. But I have to say most of the seeds of history that entered our minds didn't take root. A very important priest named Miguel Hidalgo organized the common people to fight. In 1810, they won their independence. Mr. Hidalgo's statues seem to be everywhere in Mexico. Lady Guadalupe is the most important virgin for the people of Mexico. The story is that a young man picking roses found her. She told him to go to the priest, and there the priest saw her image on his tunic. We met some of Victor's cousins, Montse and Mariana. Both are professional and well-educated. They came to meet us at a large statue called Pipila, which we climbed a long way up to see. What a view of the city from this point. Pipila holds a brick in one hand and a flame in the other hand. With these items, he began the revolt. While in Celaya, which began in 1500s, we saw the university where Victor attended. We visited Iglesias del Carmen church facility. We also searched through several markets and stores to find the perfect souvenirs to bring home. And then imagine an empty water tower is the symbol of the city of Celaya. We also became, while in Mexico, very aware of the seriousness families take in securing their property from potential thieves. Razor wire, electrified fences, glass cemented into the top of brick walls. Victor Sr. said, "We do everything we can to protect ourselves from criminals, but it is us who are confined to our property, and the criminals have the freedom to roam the streets." Ironic. On our last day in Celaya, Victor, Josefina, and Ale took us to San Miguel, an historic city that had its beginning in the late 1400s. We enjoyed a lovely meal in what used to be a very large home of a very wealthy woman. And did you know that women in Mexico never put their purses and bags on the floor? When we stepped inside the Cathedral of San Miguel, we were surprised to see a wedding ceremony taking place. Sunday, after Josefina made us a tasty Mexican breakfast, we took the bus back to Guadalajara to fulfill our service commitments. Dale worked with me in the kitchen, slicing and dicing fruits and veggies, washing dishes in water heated on the stove, and soaking all edible fresh food for 15 minutes in an iodine water solution. I think our craziest day was the day we made pizza. We used every baking pan, cookie sheet, and pie plate we could get our hands on. My biggest challenge with the pizza, contrary to rumors, was not getting Dale to work, but it was the oven. It wasn't very hot. But in the end, the students really did enjoy the pizza. and we made enough for 2 meals. And did you know that you don't buy tortilla chips in Mexico? You have to make them. Talking about cooking challenges, we had students from 6 different countries. The Mexicans like their food hot, the Peruvians enjoy bland food and rice, and each nationality has their favorite foods. I think I dealt with the food tastes quite well by mixing the foods daily and always providing the Mexicans with hot spices near the food to be added as desired. Our last touring jaunt was to visit Huachimantones, circular stepped pyramids, a place dedicated to the divine dating back to the Aztecs. Discovery of this community happened in 1970, and research and excavation has happened only in the last 10 years. An interesting fact we discovered was that political and religious conflicts were resolved here by playing a game of ball, the winner being sacrificed, as that was an honor. As we've traveled around, an important part of our travel for Dale is exploring cemeteries to learn about burial traditions. And for me, I always try to learn a new word in that language. Provecho, enjoy your meal. And I was working in the cocina, my kitchen. My 2 years of high school Spanish did assist a little during our time in Mexico. During our last week at Centro Mateo, we were asked to share our stories. It's an interesting experience to be translated. We were thankful for the special prayers for us both that day and our last evening at Centro Mateo. And now, for your listening pleasure, a taste of Mexico. Many friends have asked, would you go again? Absolutely. It was encouraging to see our Mennonite Brethren Church alive and vibrant. It was a joy to mingle with our young friends and to see their faith in action. And it was a pleasure to interact with the Centro Mateo staff. They were freed to do their important job of discipleship training as we cared for the important details like food and grounds maintenance. As Dale and I continue to age deeper into our golden years, we want to do things that add value and purpose to our lives, our community, and the kingdom of God. Thanks for joining us on this trip to Mexico.